Welcome to our bim2sim channel. My name is Falk. I will give you a short introduction into the IFC standard. The idea is that you get a better background for working with bim2sim. First, I talk about about the IFC standard in general, and the focus of this talk is to go more into the schema of IFC. First, IFC is an acronym for Industry Foundation Classes. It is used for data transfer. The whole architectural model is stored in this file, or in this format. In one file, could be stored in one file. Geometric information and additional information could be stored. Additional information could be material properties or something like this. This IFC is the standard for OpenBIM, means the open method for BIM, building information modeling as method. Actually, it's developed by the Building Smart. Here you find more information at the Wikipedia and also at the homepage of Building Smart. The idea of, or in this talk, you will find some links and starting points for more information that you can have a deeper dive into the topic. From the historical point of view, in 1994, Autodesk started in alliance. In this alliance, there were 12 US industry companies, and they started to develop these IFC standard. If you'd like to have more information about the history of the IFC standard, you can watch these two YouTube videos. Okay, now we talk about the file formats in which you can store these IFC information. There is the IFC-SPF. This is a text file. It's human readable in ASCII. It's often used, and we use it also in bim2sim. But the disadvantage of these file format is that bigger projects have bigger files, and these files can make your application quite slow. Other formats are IFC-XML, IFC-zip, and IFC-RDF, and IFC-JSON, and IFC-HDF. So IFC-zip, when you use this file format instead of the text file format SPF, you can save around 4/5 of the storage space. JSON is a modern web format, and the HDF is a binary file format, so also smaller and more performance, but also more complicated and not readable by humans. Okay, now have a look at the human readable file format as the SPF, so the text file format. On the left hand side, you see an empty project in Blender with the extension Bonsai, formerly known as Blender BIM. Here you see an empty project, and on the right hand side you see the file itself. So it's open in the text editor, and here you see the content of this file, and you see that every line has a number, and this number is used to connect the information between each other. Here you see two times the same empty project, only stored with a different name. This I have done only to show you that every IFC file includes the file name, and also when it was saved, and other metadata of the file itself. Okay. When we add a wall into this empty project, here you see the difference in the text file. Yeah, that's the difference. So the blue highlighted lines show the lines which was added by editing the wall. So these represent this wall. Now we go more into the global structure of the IFC. There are different ways how you can think about the structure, but this is one layer view. We start on the bottom of the layers. You have the resource layer, you have the core layer, including the kernel, you have the interoperability layer, and you have the domain layer. So in this resource layer, you find something like material definitions. And in the core layer, this include the basic structure, fundamental relationships, and common concepts. So this material is connected to the kernel, and the kernel is connected to the for example, building elements we will see later. And from here, we can have connections to the architectural domain or building control domain or something else. Now we have a look into the general structure. In the general structure, you start with the IFC root, and from this root you inherit to another object, and so on and so forth. So that means that this IFC element has inherited from product, object definition. But not all IFC layers are connected directly to the core layer. So that I will show you later. But first I want to make some examples regarding this structure. So that means for the IFC wall, you see here the wall, and this wall has inherits things from the building element, from product, and so on and so forth, and ends in the IFC root. For example, here you see some of the attributes of every object, and you see the wall has inherited all these attributes. So that means the wall has a global ID, an owner history, name, description. This is all the things from the root, and then from the object it has an attribute object type, and so on and so forth and so forth. Okay, and for the window we have the same idea, but in this case you have some attributes more, or two in this case, and for example the overall height and the overall width. So this is not all the attributes these object at the end have, but for example, that you understand the idea. But there's one very important concept in IFC, and that's called the inverse relationship or virtual entity. In this main object are not stored all the informations you need. That means there must be another idea, and that's the inverse relationship. Therefore, you have a middle object. Here in this case, it's called IFC where associated material, and this connects the IFC material with the object definitions, and therefore these middle object is connected to the attribute INV has associations. So via these middle object, the IFC material is connected to the attribute has associations. So that means that also crucial informations are not stored in the main object because they are often connected via the inverse relationships, and that means that you have to make it sure that you read the whole model. Otherwise, it could be that some important informations are not loaded. Here you see how many attributes are available for the wall, for the case wall, where you can connect virtual entities. So that means there's not only one connection that opens this possibilities for virtual environments, virtual entities. There are some more, like you see here. So here you see this attribute we talked about on the slide before has associations. Another view or another understanding of the IFC standard is the structure. How would be a project structured? On the right hand side you see on the left hand side you see the general structure I will talk about shortly. On the right hand side you see how this structure you can see in a tree. Here in this example, here for example in Blender with the extension bonsai. So on the highest level is a project. In this project, sites could be aggregated, and a site aggregates facilities like buildings. In this case, you see here the house, and it could be also other facilities like bridges, roads, and railways, and I think others. And in every site, in every facility, building stories aggregated, and every building story contains building elements like walls or slabs. Here you see the stories, and here you see the elements or products. For further information, you can use these links I prepared here. First, you have some more informations about the IFC schema and the idea and so on. And the layers are explained here, and very interesting, the terms. So every term I used before, like object definition or object, is defined, and here you find the text of this definition. Another problem you often run into when you work with IFC or when you're modeling this, you don't know the official type name. So what's the best type name? For example, for a Schiller, how you would call, how would be the official type name, and therefore you can use this link. For further information about the schema, you can watch this YouTube video and also the second YouTube video here. But here you get also informations about OpenBIM, with the focus of this bonsai extension and the general idea of open source software in AEC context. And when you want to have another introduction of the IFC, you can look in the tutorial for the IFC OpenShell project. Very interesting project. It's the backend for our project for bim2sim, but also for this bonsai extension for Blender. Yeah. Short conclusion. IFC is an open standard for data transfer of BIM models. IFC schema could be stored in different formats, like the IFC, like the text file with the IFC extension I've shown you, where I showed the empty project. IFC is cleared structured data schema. The kernel includes the root object with basic attributes, and from this base, other objects on the lower level inherit the attributes. So a very important concept is inverse relationship or virtual entities, because it allows to connect further object/types for the IFC model, like material, the IFC material or something. For more information, you can also have a look in our GitHub repo, or for more videos, you find it here in our YouTube channel. Thank you for your attention.